Chapter 7. Surprising Events at Woodside Terrace. On an October day in the half-term holiday, when the sun was warm and the air so clear that every leaf and blade of grass seemed to tremble in the beauty of its being, and you could see spiderwebs shining like threads of spun light, Mr. Ferriby was looking out of the window at his garden. It ran up the hill to the edge of the wood. Mr. Ferriby was thinking how lovely it was to be alive on such a perfect autumn morning, when his eye caught a movement at the edge of the wood. Aubrey was standing there talking to a fence post. Well, thought Mr. Ferriby, he is an unusual child. Then the top of the fence post moved. Mr. Ferriby reached for his glasses. He put them on and looked again. There was a squirrel at the top of the post. Huh? Aubrey appeared to be in conversation with it. Mr. Ferriby watched for some time. He could see Aubrey's mouth moving as he talked to the creature. He could see the squirrel's head switching and its tail bobbing. The squirrel's tail switching and its head bobbing as if it understood what the boy was saying. There were also long pauses in which Aubrey seemed to listen, and the squirrel twitched, jumped and ducked about on the top of the post. And then the squirrel bobbed and disappeared. I just saw Aubrey talking to a squirrel, Mr. Ferriby told his wife. Funny thing, it was as though the squirrel was talking back. Mrs. Ferriby raised her eyebrows. She did not look convinced. Athena had not told Aubrey where or when the creatures would contact him. All she said was, "Don't get stuck indoors. Someone will find you." So that morning Aubrey went out and wondered if the bees would talk to him, or if the buzzard turning circles above the trees had something to say. But the bees just buzzed and the buzzard soared away. He said "hello" to a frog in the pond. The frog looked startled and ducked under water. Aubrey was feeling a bit foolish when there was a burst of movement in the bushes like a small explosion. With a scrabble of claws, a grey squirrel raced up the fence and stopped on top of the post, flicking her beautiful tail. "You're Bree!" "Whoa, hello, squirrel," said Aubrey, surprised that Athena should have sent someone who looked so young and playful to help him battle the terrible Yoot. "Hey, Bree, I'm Hoppy. How's it? You look stressed. What's up?" "I have a sad dad, I know. And what?" "Well, how can I help you? Help him help himself. Right, so how can I?" Hoppy was giving him such a toothy grin, it was difficult not to smile. "I don't know," Aubrey said. "How can you?" "Do I look happy, Bree?" "Yes, you do look happy. I mean the other way around. I've never seen a squirrel that looked sad. Why is that?" "Secret," Hoppy said, peeling a bit of bark off the post and flicking it at him. "Bad stuff can happen to squirrels the same as anyone. Air guns, hate them. Cars, hate them. Goshawks, brr. We get cold, wet, ill, all that, but we're basically stay happy. Amazing." "How do you do it?" "Oh, Bree, it's so easy. Listen, you've never run up a tree really fast, have you? But you must have climbed them. Best feeling in the world, right? And when we learn to climb, we also learn to fall. That's a biggie. Go away, gravity, go away, planet. That really doesn't work when you're plunging towards it face first. Point is, you're not trying to fend the ground off, you're trying to make friends with it at speed. So, you go very floppy and you roll like hell, that's a trick. And you laugh. Once you can fall and climb, which is easy when you've got these babies," the squirrel flourished her right paw and its small sharp claws, "then you can start sprinting on air and fly jumping." As she spoke, Hoppy acted out what she was describing, jumping on the spot, going floppy, and now tensing like a small cannonball. "What you do is, you gather yourself up, tense your muscles, say you're about 30 feet up, and you just fill your eyes with all the trees and the leaves and branches ahead of you, and you sort of pick an aiming point, like a good oak or a big pine that sticks up, and you say to yourself, 'I'm going to get there so fast,' and you take 3 deep breaths, and you count 1, 2, 3, go!" Hoppy leapt into the air and came back down on top of the post. "You take off like a goshawk is after you, and you rip along the first branch, and when it runs out, you fling yourself at the next one, and hurl yourself off that, and then you hit whatever you can catch, and the idea is to go faster all the time, and sometimes you just run out of tree and you shriek, because you're in terror, and you're laughing too, and whee! You jump, then, like you wouldn't believe, you really leap, and you have to think, 'I've got flying squirrel in me. I'm a jet.' And you stick your tail way out and use it like a kind of wing. It balances you. And you steer with it too. And now all the leaves and twigs are just blaring past you. And that's what we call the green rush. And then like you get into this kind of rhythm, like you're in the air. You are the forest. You're going so quick you'd make a goshawk sick. And suddenly you can see all the branches and the little whippy twigs you can use, and you seem to know your moves before you can think of them, and you skid through the trees like a bat, like a lightning bat, only with more scrabbling. Suddenly you're on that big old oak or pine or whatever you were aiming for. Yes, I hold the record. No one ever got there quicker. And then maybe you tell your friends and they have a go. And if you can do that pretty well any day of the week, it's hard to be unhappy at all. Not really. Even when you come to die, you just close your eyes, the old squirrels say, and you go back to the green rush. Aubrey had been holding his breath while Hoppy babbled, and now he let it out. Footnote. Grey squirrels lived in Britain from America. They arrived in Britain from America around 150 years ago. They are so beautiful and such fun, everyone thought it was a great idea to bring them over. Everyone except the red squirrels, who are already here, who were extremely put out. This is why people are very pleased to see red squirrels now and go to great lengths to make them feel better. Hoppy's real name, according to her parents, is Holly. Like many young squirrels, she changed it and her vocabulary when she discovered hip-hop. Phew, Aubrey said. If only Dad was a squirrel, he hardly ever laughs. When did he last climb a tree? Hoppy asked. I can't remember. It doesn't matter, said the squirrel. We need to rev him up. And there's a simple way to do it. 3 ways. Play, play and play. It's easy saying that, Aubrey told Hoppy. How are we going to do it? Oh man, we're going to glee him up. Make him wriggle like a Labrador pup. Tackle his knees. Make him sneeze. Hide his keys. Stuff his socks with peas. Put his shorts on your head. Fill his bath with bread. The man who don't laugh is a man that's dead. Water trap him. Tie his shoelaces together. But Hoppy, I don't think it's going to be enough to beat the terrible Yoot. Dad's very tired. How are we going to make him strong? Positive thinking, Bree boy. If he thinks he's getting stronger, he will be getting stronger. So just make him. But how? Shave his toothbrush, squeaked the squirrel. Say that again. Shave his toothbrush. Get an ox and shave his toothbrush handle. Get a what? An ox, man, a razor. Don't you listen to hip-hop? Sheesh. Whittle it down so smooth he can't tell it's happened. And when he picks it up, it'll feel light and he'll think he's stronger. Shave his toothbrush, Aubrey laughed. I'm not allowed anything sharp, no oxes. I'll get my crew, said Hoppy. Just watch us chew. See these teeth? Got more edges than the barrier reef. We'll pull the padding out of his boots, they'll be lighter. We'll hollow out the heels, much lighter. We'll take the lining out of his coat. I'll whittle his chip. What chip? His cell, Obo, his mobile phone. With me? Said Aubrey. I'm not sure, but if you think it will help. Think it, schmink it, I know it. Stay up, baby, climb some trees. Hoppy bobbed at him, and then with a dash she was off, chanting to herself, chippa boom, chippa boom boom. That afternoon, Jim was lying in his bed trying to sleep. He'd been awake until 6 a.m. with night fears. Night fears are worried, whirled together and concentrated into a soup of anxiety, pessimism and despair, a hopeless mixture of problems you cannot do anything about, and problems you can, if only you can get some sleep and deal with them when you're fresh. Jim had floundered around in a soup of fears about global food supplies and climate change, road safety, Aubrey's education, Suzanne's pension, his own savings, the governments of China, America and Greece, organised crime, the news, diet, the roof, the world water supply, the oil price, refugee camps, car maintenance, fertiliser and pesticides, and that was only in the first hour. Jim's night fears kept him awake for 6 more. So now he was trying to drop off. Though the afternoon was warm, blue and gold, in Jim's mind the world was a grey haze of exhaustion. His fears were so numerous they filled his mind like a vast and hideous army, stamping their feet, impatient for their turn to attack Jim's spirits. Jim lay with his eyes scrunched shut and his teeth clenched. Then he heard the fly. A fly this late in the year, he thought, and in the bedroom just when I'm trying to sleep. Now it will probably land on me when I'm trying to drop off and wake me up. Maybe I should get up and let it out, or kill it. No, I should let it out. Thou shalt not kill, even flies. Oh, Lord, Jim did not notice it because he was too busy having this miserable conversation with himself. But this fly's behaviour was unusual. Instead of buzzing around randomly like flies do, led by curiosity and anything that smells interesting, This fly, whose name was Marcel, set up a regular circuit and stuck to it. His flight path was a tilted oval shape between the bed and the window. He flew down towards the bed, zzz, and then turned to fly up towards the window, bzzz. The combined sound, zzz, bzzz, zzz, bzzz, made Jim fall fast asleep before he could complete the sentence, "I'm just." Marcel landed on the windowsill and rubbed his legs together in satisfaction. Aubrey tiptoed in, holding his finger out. On the end of it was a tiny blob of sugar and water paste. He deposited it carefully on the windowsill. Marcel began to feast. Aubrey tiptoed out. Jim surfaced from his dreams 3 hours later. He had not slept so well for weeks. He had woken once briefly, or perhaps he had dreamt it, because all he remembered was a hypnotic buzzing. There was no sign of the fly. Marcel was now having his own dreams on top of the curtain rail about cakes made of sour cream and rotten meat. And Jim had forgotten all about him. He felt properly refreshed. He decided he should join Suzanne and Aubrey and take responsibility for making tea for a change. He headed for the bathroom. He opened the bathroom door, jumped, stared in amazement, and shouted a loud and incoherent sound like "Squibber!" He appeared downstairs a few moments later. "Squirrel!" he cried, "in the bathroom!" "Really, love?" Suzanne smiled. "How funny." "Using my toothbrush." Suzanne started to laugh. "It was. I went in and put the toothbrush back in the mug, and then it went out of the window like a rocket." "Trust you to be sharing your toothbrush with squirrels," Suzanne said. She thought it mildly surprising that a squirrel should have visited the bathroom. She assumed Jim was exaggerating about the replacement of the toothbrush. Had she seen the squirrel exiting the bathroom window, his cheeks packed with orange toothbrush shavings, which it then spat carefully into the drain, who knows what Suzanne would have thought? All we know is what Mr. Ferriby thought. He happened to be in his garden and glancing towards his neighbour house when the squirrel appeared. "There is something going on with that squirrel of Aubrey's," he told Mrs. Ferriby. "I just saw it come out of their bathroom and throw up carrots. Maybe they've got it on the wrong diet." Mrs. Ferriby looked sceptical.